Watcher people, welcome to this week's Sunday sermon. How you all doing out there today? Hey? How's the week been for you? I hope it's been the least chaotic as possible on Planet Clown Show. That kind of brings me on to what I want to talk about this week. I mean, there's so many subjects, right? Like it's difficult to be able to pick one, to be able to home in on a subject that takes more priority over the other. But I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I'm guided, right? I'm guided with a certain passion for a subject, or like I feel like I really want to say something about that. And it's usually something that is feeling very poignant in my own reality, right? In my own life, something that I'm doing, or something I'm seeing evidence of, or I'm seeing results of. I mean, I know like results is sort of like sometimes is a bit of a word because it feels like we've entered into a marketing fucking conversation, and that's not what we're talking about. However, we are looking to see those improvements in our life, right? When we make changes, or we're looking for progression or an evolution of the way that we live, whether that would be our health, whether that would be our finances, whether that would be just the way that we interface with reality, with our family, with our friends, how we conduct ourselves, how just everything, right? So for me, like one of the things I found incredibly valuable is the mastering of my own psyche. Yeah. As I've explained many times, right, I'm mental. I'm a mental projector for all you human design boffs out there, and apparently, I don't know too much about it, but I've had my chart read by people who do. Hannah's actually quite a novice student of human design, but she knows bits and pieces, and she's able to read into certain aspects of me. I think she might be spying on me, the fucker. And one of the things she says is it's quite a rare setup that I've got. That explains everything, doesn't it, Doctor? So my design, and if you don't know what your human design is, right, it's very interesting to find out. As is like having your astrological charts read, or any of that stuff that gives us maybe a deeper perspective, or a wider perspective is probably more accurate, on ourselves. And so, having understood my human design chart, and like I say, you can easily, there's loads of websites you can find your own, and you pretty much will get sort of like a general free chart, and then you can find people. I know some good people who read charts, so if you need someone, get in touch and we'll point you in the right direction. All you need to know is your time of birth and where you were born. That's it. And then it throws you up like some stuff that it's pretty hard to deny, really. It's pretty hard to deny. So I've digressed a little bit into the human design world, but what I'm trying to say is that like my makeup is that of someone who's incredibly charged in the mental capacity. I'm mental! And like, I am. I have a very, very, very active mind. Very active, very engaging. It's very valuable, right? It's like it's something that I am learning as I get older, get wiser, a bit calmer. I'm realising that it's actually an incredible tool that I've got in the tip of my fingers. It allows me to decipher information at light speed. I can communicate very well. Like I've got lots of stuff that I can say is a very, very, it's a gifted setup, you know. However, there is also another side to that, right? Which means that because I've got an active mind, that my mind, if it's listening to the auto commentary or the internal dialogue, like we like to call Radio Danny. You can't call yours Radio Danny, right? Unless your name is actually Danny, because that would be a bit strange. However, that noise, when it's idle, when it's just sitting there and like you're not trying to work something out or you're not being creative, you're not see the creativity as well, right? Like I feel like that's something that comes through the mind, but also comes from underneath as well. It's sort of almost like a true creativity is sort of like this current of like whatever's out there, and it's coming through you, and you're able to use that and put that into form. And that's kind of like what we call creativity, right? Is when you're sort of like, and I'm talking about like the real people who are like very, very almost touched by something special when it comes to their creativity. It's not really them, you know. Well, it is. Of course it is, because they are acting as a conductor of all of that juicy fucking magic that's coming through. But like we're the ownership of that, or the sort of like, yeah, look how special I am. I mean, to me, that it falls away quite easily because I'm aware that there's something bigger than us. Maybe it's me in the future sending me all of these wonderful ideas and all this creativity, you know. But I often feel that it comes back to sort of like that God particle that we've all got running through us, you know, that like the creativity that is endless in the cosmos. It's just out there in the ether, and when we tune into that, we're able to channel a lot of that creativity. So once that's happening, I think the mind is a valuable tool. But when it's idle, when you're just sitting there and you're doing something else that doesn't really request or require the mind to become active, it's still like chatting away, just absolutely talking nonsense, absolute bollocks. And a lot of that bollocks is either self-deprecation or it's the criticism and the judgment of your environment or other people. And like loads of people have that going on, right? Loads of people. In fact, like I would say it's like man's biggest fucking quest is like to be able to live in a world or in a reality, in an existence where this is quiet, you know, and we're just sitting there going, oh wow, just taking it all in. Like my dog. I know the dude, he doesn't have anything going on in his head, bless him, you know. I think he's an intelligent lad in his own, you know, his own way. But he doesn't seem bothered by anything. He's not sitting there like worried about anything. I think he's just taking it all in. And I think there's somewhere along the lines, mankind's mind has been hacked. You know, there's some fuckery afoot. We've been biohacked to create this very sort of like fear-based paradigm that we all live in. You know, where there's this incredibly powerful narrative that is running all the time. This radio station that is never really us. And it seems like a lot of the time it's trying to keep us in a very, very incapacitated state. You know, that we're not able to do anything because we're too caught up in this. Oh, can I? You know, can I do that? And there's this fight going on, like, can I do this? Am I good enough? Will that work? And all this sort of like unnecessary evaluation and analysis and procrastination, it kind of keeps us from actually doing the stuff that we can do. Of course we can do. You know, like I've said this fucking hundreds of times, the real C word is can't. You know? So, one of the things that I've discovered in myself is that there is almost sort of like a program, an automated program that is running very, very often within my mind. And that is one of, like I say, self-deprecation, of worry, of fear, of concern, of doubt, of suspicion, of threat. All of that stuff, all right? Which is all very low vibrational stuff. And once it's being observed, or once we've accepted it, observing's okay, right? But once the stage is that we observe it, and that's all right. We're not really we're just a passenger then, and it's okay. But as soon as we take a stance on it, or we accept it, or even if we push it away too grossly, too aggressively, then we're almost activating it on a cellular level. So then it can affect our bodies, right? And I truly believe this, that I really feel that the majority of our ailments and our maladies, they come from the mind, first and foremost. Disease is dis-ease, all right? And for me, like, to be in a state of dis-ease starts in the mind. So I've become sort of like more and more aware of this, you know, over the last... it's been going on for a decade or more. You know, I started probably, I don't know, fucking... Yeah, it's got to be like 12, 13 years ago that I began, maybe even more, 15 years ago, where I started looking into meditation and silence and reading all of the books and bought the t-shirt. And it's been sort of, you know, an ongoing journey. I don't think it's a journey that ever ends, by the way, and it's not important, the destination. I think the journey is rich with so much data and information for us to be able to navigate and change direction and change course whenever we want. You know, that's the beauty of life, right? But I do feel probably in the last year or so, there's been a real colossal transformation in my own thinking, you know. And I believe that is very, very valuable for everyone to start understanding how we can change that thought process. Because if we wake up in the morning and we're like, oh, fuck me, it's going to be a shit day, guaranteed it's going to be a shit day. That's just how it works. So if we wake up in the morning and just go, right, today's going to be fucking amazing, mate. Today's going to be a great day. I can't wait to get my teeth into today. Then you're setting yourself up ready for what's going to happen. And do you know what? The day might end up shit. Yeah? I mean, if you want to label it, it might end up with a lot of stuff that is like, oh, do you know what? Fucking hell, I'm glad this day's over. But you still can start off on that trajectory of positivity. And that's what it is, right? And it's not like, I think a lot of people misconstrue it to a sort of, oh, you've put your head in the sand, or you're like this fucking guru who's like in this state of like everything's going to be all right, you know, like I'm not looking at anything negative and everything's just going to fall into place. And of course, like that it seems to be, it can be misconstrued as a cop-out, you know, like you're not in the real world, you're not in reality because you just believe everything's going to be okay. But actually that's where the magic is. Because if we are magnetism, right, if we are just energy, and we are just energy, right, like literally, there is nothing different really between the form of this microphone and me, you know. Hey, Mike. It's the same, all right? It's just that we're atoms and particles vibrating at a different rate. Nothing's really got form, you know. It's just a flow of energy. And that's really can't be debated now, yeah? That is like actual science, not the politicised, weaponised science, but real science backs that up quite easily now, that we are a massive, beautiful creation of stardust, materialised in form, but just never actually concrete, just flowing around. Yeah? So if that's what we are, and one of the almost the indicators of that, or the thing that let's say like the antenna of that is coming through our mind, and we're able to say, do you know what, I'm healthy, do you know what, I'm wealthy, do you know what, I'm happy, do you know what, I feel strong, do you know what, I feel courageous. If we're able to get all that stuff in us, and I don't mean just like sitting there in your mirror going, I'm courage, I'm brave, I'm brave, I'm brave, I'm brave, because that feels to me almost like staged then, right? That doesn't feel realistic. That doesn't feel like something we can take into reality with us, is that we're just sitting in front of a mirror all day, like reminding us with positive affirmations. That might have worked for people, certainly in parts of their life. I remember when I first started therapy, fucking a long time ago, a couple of decades ago, that was one of the first things I uncovered. Was like, oh right, I can biohack my mind. I can tell myself that I do love myself, and then I can start to feel that. And there's positive reaction to that. Certainly for me personally, right? But this is more sort of that we are going into reality in a spontaneous way, but we're saying that there's almost a mantra that we're living by, that nothing is bad. All right? We're not going to see things as bad. We're not going to label things as bad. We're going to just realise that everything happens for a reason. All right? And within that straight away, we're seeing that this problem that we've created, or this problem that has found us, we've labelled a problem, is actually an invitation for us to be able to find a deeper perspective of life. And that would mean like something happens and we're like, oh, fucking hell, why me? How did that happen? Or we could just go, okay. And look, these things, like, when they happen, yeah, straight away, like something happens, a lot of us we've almost got this very habitual program running now that we just see it as like, oh, fucking hell. And like, anger takes over. And we've got this feeling of like, oh, why me? Why me? And that's understandable because we've spent a lifetime within that program, right? And I truly believe that program isn't us. I believe it's part of whatever that other source is on this fucking planet that is plugged into us to be able to keep us in that state again, all right, where we are incapacitated, we are immobile, because we're so full of fear and angst that we can't do anything. All right? And so if we reframe all of that, and we're not seeing it as, we're not seeing life and the trials and tribulations and the challenges that come with life, and they come thick and fast, and they're going to continue to come thick and fast, let me tell you. If we can reframe all of that, and we can continue to do that, we are taking that program and we are making it irrelevant. It becomes irrelevant because there's something else playing now. We've turned on a new radio station and it's getting louder than the old one. The one that's redundant, the one that's expired, and the one that, do you know what? I don't want to listen to that negativity anymore. I don't want to listen to everything's bad and everything's negative, because that really, to me, is feeding that fucking beast over there. Because this is a spiritual conflict we're in. This is a fucking energetic battle. So if that one side of it is incredibly negative, then the only answer to me, in the most obvious, practical, pragmatic solution to it all, is to be more fucking positive. And I know, again, listen, I know that might seem like it's just a load of fucking words jumbled together, and like we can't really, it's just, you know what, I can't do anything with that. But what I would say is that, how do you know until you try? Like I can personally say, right, and I'm someone, I've had a colourful life, yeah. I've lived quite a, you know, dramatic, colourful existence up until now, right? And I would say that I could quite easily, based on some of the stuff that is buried in me, based on some of the programs that have been plugged into me, I could allow them to be bigger than me, because they're there and they do feel real. You know, the story feels real to me. It feels really real sometimes. That I'm a victim and that, oh my God, oh woe me, poor me. You know, that feels very real sometimes. And the transformation I'm talking about is in the last year that is getting quieter and quieter. And it's because of what I talked about last week, and all of this stuff blends into one, right? It's all just a formula for living. Is self-care, you know? And self-care for me is that, like I say, I try not to talk to anyone. I try not to talk to anyone in my day until I've sat in silence. And because when I've sat in silence, I've checked into the real me. Because when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, whoa, what a lovely world. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, and I'm like a fucking miserable old Jack Russell. And I know that ain't me. And I know going and sit in silence, I can check in with the real me, and then that's gone. And I don't even know what that was. It's not even real. It's like, who the fuck was that in my reality? You know, what influence was that having on me? That's good, H2O. And by doing that, by taking that step away from that, we're not allowing that any power, are we? We're not accepting that in our reality, right? We're not validating that in our bodies. We're not allowing it to take over us and ruin our reality, whether that's a day, a week, a month, or whatever, even if it's a minute. We're taking charge of our own lives. Yeah. So for me, all of that stuff, all of that, like, very, very busy mind, chaotic mind, very, very, I would say disorientated sometimes, like overwhelmed way of thinking. It's all being lessened and lessened and lessened because I'm taking more time just to listen to me, just to check in, you know. And you only have to do that for 10 minutes in the morning. In the morning, maybe a little 5 minutes in the afternoon, and you can chuck in another 5-10 minutes at night. It's a very small window, really, you know, in your day, just to listen to yourself. And that's really all it is, right? And I personally feel like I'm gravitating away from sort of the traditional spiritual teachings of meditation and stuff, because it doesn't really feel, I don't know, it just feels a little bit like, well, that's, I've got to label this, I've got to go somewhere, I'm doing something, when actually you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there. And that's all you need to do. And of course the mind gets in the way, because that's what it's programmed to do. It's programmed to take you out of that state, because it doesn't want you being in that state, because in that state you are the most powerful you can be. And if your actions and choices are delivered from that state in reality, then you are going to be the best version of yourself, not only to you, but to how you interact with the people around you, the environment around you in the world. That's just how it is. So, like, if I know that, okay, it feels like I'm the puppeteer of my own puppet, right? What do I want it to do? How do I want it to think? How do I want it to feel? Well, that starts by just realising that I haven't done nothing wrong, all right? There is no, like, it's just an experience, all right? I can fuck up as many times as I want, perceivably fuck up, whatever that means anyway, and it's okay, all right? There's no one out there judging me apart from me. And if anyone is out there judging me, who gives a fuck? So the more we're able to rewrite this story that's going on in our head, and we're able to reframe the way that we think about the world, then all of a sudden some incredibly powerful things start to happen. We start to feel more happy. We start to feel more positive. We start to feel that, do you know what? I feel much more in charge of my reality than I used to. And that's because we're unplugging. You know The Matrix, right? It's a fucking documentary. But you know that, like, where they're in that thing, in that, like, I don't know, like little glass fucking soup container with all that jelly, horrible jelly stuff, and they've got all the plugs in them. I mean, I know that's like a metaphor. I don't think that's exactly how it is, but that's accurate, metaphorically speaking. Something's plugged into us, and it's not us. And the more time that we're able to realise that and just go, do you know what? I don't like the way that I'm thinking about myself. I don't like the way I'm judging the world. I don't like the way I'm criticising people. And listen, I do it like that. Like that, mate. That. I can fucking drive down the road in the wrong mood and everyone's a cunt. You know, easily. Like that. Cunt. And sometimes you can do it from a space of, like, it's just funny, right? Like you're not putting any judgment or criticism on people. You're just observing reality, and sometimes you can chuck in a little bit of comic commentary, yeah, because the world is a fucking dark comic space, yeah. So to not laugh at it, I think we're doing ourselves an injustice, because it is fucking hilarious sometimes about what's going on out there, how bizarre it is, how many wonderfully weird fucking characters there are on this fucking plane. I think it would be doing us a real robbery, you know, not to be able to enjoy some of that, all right? But there's the part I'm talking about is when you're in that space, when you're in that, you know, and everything's fucked and everything's shit, and oh fuck, oh bollocks, why did that happen? Oh no, that's gone wrong, and this has gone wrong. And we can totally reimagine all of that, yeah, completely. We can rewrite all of that stuff. We don't have to live our lives like that. So it's a case of observing what's going on, right? And then laughing at it, yeah? Because then it loses its power. You just go like, oh my God, that ain't me, you know? How can I just see the world as a positive space? Just start off like that. Right, I'm going to wake up today. Well, you're awake actually today. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, all right? And I'm just going to see the world as a positive space. I'm going to see everyone that I meet positively or compassionately, you know? I'm going to see all of the trials and tribulations that are going to come, that are coming, that are here. I'm going to see them as an invitation for growth. Invitation to make myself more skilled, more patient, more knowledgeable, more informed. All of these things are available. And that other thing, that is not us. That doesn't want us to take that step. Doesn't want us for this realisation to come to light. It just really, really doesn't want it. Because then it loses its power over us. When we can start going, oh, well, hold on a minute. Where is all that doubt just come from? I just had this wonderful idea and all of a sudden it's been trampled upon by doubt. Where'd that come from? Because that ain't me. All right, next time that happens, I'm just going to ignore it off the bat. And then you keep doing that and you keep doing that. And then you're training yourself or untraining yourself, deprogramming to take over, to take back charge of this mind, this powerful, powerful mind. So it is quiet when there's nothing going on. And when there's stuff going on, it can see it as an invitation for practical action. It's really, really that simple, right? And I know that there might be a lot of people feel that, you know what, my problems are real, Danny, yeah? My fucking problems is real. Listen, your story's real. I understand that, yeah? My story's real too. And all of our stories are real, right? All of them, if we want to accept that. If we want to sit there and say, yep, this is me, this is my identity, this is my story, poor fucking me, I've had loads of shit going in my life, ain't we all? Haven't we all? We all have, haven't we? And trust me, my heart goes out to you. I've got nothing but compassion and empathy for everyone's fucking suffering and grief. I really have. But I know that if we keep on focusing on that, that's what we are. That's all we are. We're fucking crippled by it. And at some point we can make a decision to say, do you know what? Not anymore. And of course, like, as we're doing that, it's going to be challenging. Yeah? There's going to be times where you're going to go, oh, fuck, mate, I've done it again. Fuck me, I've done it 100 times today. I must have done it, like, because I've been practicing this for, I don't know, for quite a while now, but I read something a few days ago that re-energized this feeling in me, and it was really well eloquently put, and I thought, well, do you know what, I'm going to double down on this again now, like just as a reminder. I think it was a message sent to me, like, you've got to remember this. And so today I noticed it, like, even more, and I was like, oh, why did I say that? Who said that? Do you know what I mean? Why the fuck did that come out of my mouth? You know? And it's like something it's gonna be challenging to begin with. It's gonna be confronting to begin with, because it's change, it's transformation, and the transformation is of the old, redundant, dead self, yeah, which is mirrored, massively mirrored in our world. What's going on out there is going on in here. You know? All that shit you see out there is also going on in here. And we interface with it, you know, it's all part of the same thing. It all is the same. So the more we can change ourselves and become a bigger, brighter light of positivity, that's going to affect the macrocosm. It's just how it works. And I want to feel good. Do you know what I mean? I want to feel positive. I want to speak well of people. I don't want to criticise people. I don't want to judge people. I don't want to speak bad of people, gossip about people. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it about myself either. Because we are. Like, if you're doing it about other people, you know you're doing it to yourself as well. That's just the way it works. And like, that's our projection of it, because that's how we feel about ourselves inside. So then all of a sudden we're like uncovering this, wow, this beautiful fucking hidden fucking demon, this monster of self-worth is uncovered. And then there's some really, really beautiful healing starts to happen. And you start to look at yourself and think, you know what? I really, really love myself. I'm really starting to feel what a fucking good man I am. Or a good woman. You know? And that's everything, isn't it? If everyone walked around on this earth and everyone felt positive and everyone felt like happy and felt like, do you know what? Yeah, life might be tough, but I'm just going to grab it by the fucking horns and I'm going to deal with whatever it throws at me. You're going to get stronger. You know, you're going to get more powerful. You're going to get more self-governing. All that stuff's just going to come. And then the problems are going to get lighter. That's just how it works as well. Because the stuff that you thought was, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's actually not that big a deal. And then when the stuff that does come, which is difficult, really, really challenging, you're going to be better prepared for it. So, there you go. I hope that helps, because I can't articulate how much this has helped me, this process, over the last, well, as I say, it's been going on for a long time, but mostly for the last year or so, I can feel such a change in how I feel about myself. And I feel that's getting more and more powerful in how I turn up in the world. You know? And I really want everyone else to come on this journey to feel good about themselves, because why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you? It's just a big fucking fabrication. It's a big lie. We've been turned against ourselves, been turned against each other. And it's high time we take charge. It's high time we start to feel fucking good about this world and good about reality and good about ourselves. Alright? So you know what to do. And as always, like the good shepherd that I am, I'll be here to do whatever I can along the way to lighten your load, to guide, to share my own experiences. And I feel together we are going to end up in a very, very beautiful world very soon. Just got to stay positive. All right then. See you later.